All right, Juice, we're back with another episode, and we were talking about a Marine. What'd he do?
He's an ammunition technician, a
That's what you were, right?
2311. Yeah.
You were an ammo tech for a while.
Yeah, my primary. He worked for the School of Infantry as an ammo tech.
Okay.
And out at Camp Pendleton, California.
Right.
And the young, fine, outstanding Marine that he is, he took a Javelin missile system, all kind of ammunition when he got out, and took it home with him to Arizona, and then decided he was going to sell it.
Those are about $40K every time you press the trigger, right?
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah. They're probably a little bit more right now.
Yeah. Now, back when I was in the School of Infantry,
Right.
we had the anti-tank missilemen, they call them.
Oh, yeah. My nephew is that.
They had the tow missile and the Dragon.
What was it, 0352?
51, something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, I guess the Javelin came later, definitely.
Yeah.
But they were working on that when I was getting out.
Yeah.
They had some testing going on and all that. But it's a pretty nasty weapon, I reckon.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it can lock on and all those things.
Oh, yeah. It's no joke. It's pinpoint.
Shoot and forget kind of thing. So,
yeah. It's a pinpoint weapon.
Now, me being an 0311, I only had the AT4.
Right.
You had to basically fight your way to within 300 yards of a tank.
Yeah.
Shoot it.
Yeah.
They were good, though. When you hit them, they worked, you know.
Yeah, when you hit them.
Yeah, if you could get there.
Yeah.
You know, human flesh and tanks.
Yeah.
Tank usually wins. But
yeah.
So that's pretty resourceful, though. He took the Javelin to Arizona, and then what did he put it on Craigslist?
I guess.
I mean, how do you...
I mean, it's easy to get the ammunition. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's real easy.
Is it?
Yeah, you go to the ASP, you do your ammo draw, and when you do your when you do your 1348 on your return, which is the form that shows your account,
right?
You just put the wrong number on and say the rest were expended.
Okay.
So you're the ammo tech. You're the specialist of all the ordnance, the munitions, the everything. So nobody's going to question it. You take it back, give them it, you give them what's on your trucks, put it back in the ASP magazines. Bob's your uncle, right?
Is there not so nowadays, so later in the Army, in my Army life, we would shoot, and then we had to take the shell case, the empty brass, back, and they would weigh it, and it had to kind of match how much you expended.
You know how much it's so easy to cheat that weight. It really is.
And if we really liked the guy, and if he liked you, we'd bring him some Gatorade and some dip.
Yeah.
And he would kind of let us rush through.
Yeah.
You know, so
yeah.
Or whatever you like, Budweiser, you name it, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. You can get away with a lot before you get caught, but you're going to get caught because you're going to do something stupid.
Now, there's one girl, E7 at McClellan. We didn't like, she was a stickler.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't bribe her for nothing.
Yeah.
But to get out there early.
We
just want to get out there early.
Like that.
We weren't trying to steal ammo. We're just trying to get home, you know, at a decent time. But the big fat sergeants, man, you could get them with honey buns and hamburgers.
I had so many contacts in the Marine Corps when I was in.
Yeah.
It was funny. MPs, division schools. I had contacts everywhere.
I'm just wondering, so was it a Javelin missile system or a rocket?
It was the Javelin missile system.
So the system...
It was all of it.
So the weapon, I don't know the name of this. I'm not an expert, but I would call it the frame or the carrier, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That would be in your armory.
Oh, yeah.
How did he get out of the armory? Now, that'd be like missing an M4. It's almost impossible.
Yeah. So. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
But you can get away with just about anything till you get caught. Somebody's going to notice.
It's hard to get them weapons out of an armory, though, especially a high profile one, an expensive one like that.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be like getting a 240 out of it and like it's missing.
Yeah. Or, and this really happened on the island of Okinawa, you are an idiot and you put your little knit cap over your face and you go beat up the officer of the day and tie him up and take his weapon. And you go out in town and try and sell it on the black market.
To the Japanese?
Yeah. Yeah, we had some guys in the Marine Corps when I was in did that. That was pretty stupid.
Really?
Oh,
beat up the lieutenant or captain? Or
yeah,
whatever?
It was a lieutenant. Beat up the officer of the day. It took his weapon.
It's typically a lieutenant or a captain.
Yeah.
But,
no, don't get me wrong. I did a lot of stupid things when I was in. You know, I was kind of a bad apple for a few years.
Right.
But even that was far beyond me.
Japan. Remember that guy that raped that little girl?
Yeah.
He's still in prison now, I think,
yeah.
over there.
And he should be. She was only 13 years old. And it just
I was in when that happened, man, and it was
the people over there are so nice.
Mm-hmm.
They're very humble. They're very generous people. I wish I could retire and move back there. That was my dream.
Okinawans are more of a friendly oriented person than the regular mainland Japanese people.
Yes,
because that's all cities over there.
Yes,
this is Okinawa's kind of countryside, isn't it?
So, well, not all of it.
You got your markets and all that.
Yeah, but it's like a city. It's like
I've never been there, man. So.
Yeah, it's like going. It's like going to Huntsville in some areas.
I just see the jungle on the World War II movies,
Yeah, well, that's down south. That Suicide Cliffs and stuff. That's all changed, but you can still visit the cliffs. But Okinawa, they are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. I wish I could go back there and retire and live there.
Do they still have the flag on Mount Suribachi? Is there like a memorial there?
I think so.
Okay.
It was there. I got to visit there in 89. No, 90. I got to visit in 90.
I was in the 10th grade, by the way. So.
Thanks. Thanks for making me feel old again. And the flag was there.
Okay. Like a memorial type
thing?
Okay. Was it a steep hill?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine fighting your way up there.
No. Because you can stand down there and look.
They're rolling grenades and shooting machine guns at you. And
dude, I'm telling you, I'm so thankful for the Marines of past, for the legacy they left. I couldn't have done that.
Right.
I really, no, I was a wimp compared to those guys.
So back to this, I'm back to the Camp Pendleton Marine, the California guy.
Oh, yeah.
So you get the Javelin weapon system off the base after you got out of the Marines, went to Arizona.
And a bunch of ammo.
He had the missiles. Now, these aren't bullets. These are missiles.
Yeah.
I think they're about 40. They're about 60, they're about the size of a 60 mortar, I believe, which is decent. You're not putting it in your pocket.
No. You can throw it in your trunk and go out with it.
Throw it in a backpack or whatever.
Yeah. But he had a stack of ammo cans.
Yeah.
Ball ammo. Yeah.
He had ball ammo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't just the Javelin. He had a bunch of ammo.
Right. Okay. And I just want to know where he tried to sell it.
It was online.
Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah. And I guess a sheriff's deputy seen it and was like, I'm going to have to check into that. Next thing you know, NCIS
had a sting operation.
Yeah, we'll buy it. Busted. What an idiot.
Yeah.
Now, I got office hours for having 7.62 belted ammo hanging up.
Where?
In my room.
Wasn't off base, though.
It doesn't matter. I had it hanging in my room. I got in trouble for it.
So we had flashbangs. You remember the dweebs?
Oh, yeah.
Those things were they were nice, but they'd knock a finger off.
Oh, yeah.
But they were good. They were fun to play with.
Oh, yeah.
And we had about 60 of them left over. And the ammo supply guy said, just take them.
Yeah.
He said, I don't want to deal with them. Turn back in is awful, right?
Well, there's a difference in who they let do that. You're not going to just let it to the admin guys and say, here, go play with these. You guys were a little bit different.
Well, we played with them.
Exactly.
So we were out at my place, off base.
Yeah.
On the 4th of July.
Right.
Drunk as skunks.
Yeah.
Throwing them at each other. And a Jacksonville police shows up at the front.
Oh.
And gets out and comes over there and goes, hey, guys, you're scaring all the kids. Those are way louder than a firecracker.
Oh, yeah.
He just said, cut it out. We gave him a hamburger and he went on his way. So we're grilling out and stuff, But anyway, most Jacksonville cops are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dealt with them. Now, if you wanted to fight them, they're going to fight you back. So I've seen some Marines want to fight with them.
Yeah.
And they got the brakes beat off of them.
Yeah. It happens.
They'd show up with, 2 or 3 more would show up. And
and then the polyester pig pile will continue.
Yeah.
Which those things are great.
Right. Wasn't fun on Monday morning when the first sergeant would say, he would go through the roll. Such and such got a DUI. This guy got beat up by the cops. This guy's missing.
That hit the base blotter. You were done.
Yeah. We were pretty good, though. We didn't hit the blotter as much as the grunts. They had 25 times more people than we did. So, had more chances of screwing up.
Level of professionalism a little different from unit to yours.
When we got in trouble was when we came off deployment that first week.
Yeah.
Dude, because you didn't go on block leave right away. You spent a week there, got all your gear put up, everything in order. Then you went on block leave.
Yeah.
But you would stay out drinking until about 6 a.m.
Well, you have to decompress
before you showed up at the motor pool or the comm house or whatever. They get everything put away. You know what I mean? So we had dudes get in trouble then, to the point where we had one of the platoon platoon commanders. They were all captains. Said, "Hey boys, we're going to be on lockdown here," but he bought them all the beer they wanted. So anyway,
Of course,
we're not going anywhere. He kind of said, "Let's get it
that's
all
a
put
good
away
guy
and
right
go."
there.
Yeah. Because we had some issues before.
Yeah.
Anyway, man, we got off track.
Yeah, we did.
It's fun though.
It's funny talking about Marine Corps stuff, though.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it some more.
Yeah.
What about we had guys that when I was there, we still had M16s in the Marines, the long ones, right?
Yeah, the A2s.
We'd moved to the M4, but an M16 showed up out on the streets in a murder down the road in Wilmington.
Right.
And they traced it back to a sergeant that it was assigned to on base that had gotten out and sold it on the street. And he'd moved off to Oklahoma, but that thing turned back up in a murder down in Wilmington in a drug deal.
Imagine that.
And they followed the serial number. Hey, Camp Lejeune, check your serial numbers. Oh, that was assigned to Sergeant Snuffy. Right. Or Sergeant Snuffy. Well, he got out and he lives in 1224 Lovely Lane in Lawton, Oklahoma, and they tracked him down. Sure enough, he'd sold it. He admitted to it. But
sure anyway. He did. It says U.S. government on it. What's he going to say? No, the Marine Corps is going to say, oh, that's not ours.
Well, they told the feds, this is the guy that had it last kind of thing. So he got put in prison, obviously. But then there was some arms. When I'm armied up now, I'm saying arms room.
Yeah.
Some armorers that went to jail over that too.
They knew it had. There's no way they didn't know it was gone.
Well, here's the thing: they were going to the transition from the A2 to the M4, so they were kind of DXing a lot of M16 A2s. So it was kind of, I wouldn't say it was easy, but they slid through the cracks, kind of deal. They knew how to fudge the paperwork before they went to Quantico. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
That's where all the DX stuff went at the time. I don't know where they go now, but
yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I'm so far removed from the Marines. And then in the Army Reserve, this was a training unit. We had a bunch of colonels, lieutenant colonels, and majors, and I was one of the few captains at the time, so I was like a private. Okay,
right.
It was awesome. I didn't have no responsibility. I just showed up and did my little analysis, and I left. Right. We were observer controllers. Right.
Right.
So, anyways, I was a private. I had to clean the bathrooms. I didn't care. I was a captain. Now we had janitors and stuff. We had 30 pistols. That's all we had. All right. And we had a tiny little arms room with 30 pistols in it. The only thing they were there for is so we could all go do our yearly weapons qual. As an officer, you could do it on an M4 or a pistol, didn't matter. You had to have an annual weapons qualification.
Right.
That's all they were there for. No Berettas. We had a knucklehead. All right. So we had a force protection officer there every weekend. You get assigned. You didn't have to stand post, but you drew out a magazine, a Beretta, and a magazine, and you walked around armed that day.
Right.
All right. You were like not the officer today. We call it the force protection officer, which wasn't really that, but the guy get in his car and leave.
Yeah.
A lieutenant colonel. And sold that pistol. Now, I was there. We were there till about Tuesday till we figured out what happened. Drill ended on Sunday.
Huh.
And, the general was like, "No, we're not leaving until we figure this out." And finally, the guy raised his hand and said what he did. And they arrested him right there.
You're going to get caught. Mm-hmm. You can't get away with something like that.
What an idiot.
I know somebody.
We were all mad, too, because we were there. They wouldn't let us leave.
I know somebody made it through the State Police Academy, gets out, gets on patrol, and 2 weeks later, one of the guys that was in the academy with him sold his on-duty service weapon for crack.
Crack cocaine.
Yeah.
There was a recent one in Texas, I think, where a guy, he was a cop at a small town police force. All right. He was under investigation by his own police force for selling a police firearm. All right.
Oh, yeah. I believe it.
He applied for a federal agent position. ICE. He applied to that. And they were doing local interviews.
Right.
He shows up to interview in his cop uniform. And they arrest him. They use that as a ploy to get him in a safe space to get him arrested. So
that's awesome.
Anyway, I thought that was
yeah. That's cool. I hate dirty cops.
I don't know if he's dirty, he's just dumb. So
no, he's dirty.
Yeah.
If you're selling police weaponry, you're you're a criminal.
There's
You're
so
a
many
low-life
ways to
cop.
make side money now.
Yeah.
Go do carpentry.
Especially as a cop, though.
Wash
You
cars.
can do security.
Carpentry, wash cars, mow yards. I don't care. We used to mow yards in the Marines. Make extra money. You know, me and my neighbor, he had a ride mower and I had a push mower and a weed eater. And we said, hey, let's put it out. We went and mowed yards on Saturdays sometimes just to make some extra cash.
I worked part-time in the machine shops under the table.
Yep. I worked as a bar backer in Jacksonville for a while. I hated that.
Yeah. Well, where?
Can I name it?
Yeah.
Driftwood.
Oh.
But
the Dirtwood.
What got so old was you didn't get out of there till like 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had to load everything up for the next day. And it was exhausting.
Dirtwood. You were hardcore, man.
They put out a thing. Hey, we want some people working the back, toting the kegs.
Yeah.
And I said, I'll come do it. It was like $6 an hour.
But back then, $6 an hour was $6 an hour.
That's a lot of cases of beer.
Yeah.
That was a lot of Milwaukee's best.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there's easy ways to make extra money.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of
without killing yourself.
Stealing a pistol. That's like 20 years. He's done forever.
Good.
He's going to be working, at Dollar General after he gets out. So
I hope he doesn't get a job anywhere when he gets out.
Nothing against Dollar General workers. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
He's not going to get a high level job at Dell Computers.
I bet you he won't be back in law enforcement again.
No, he won't do that. So he's done, man. I just don't know what people are thinking.
Nah, neither do I. It's crazy.
Any other good stories about the Marines?
I don't know if we're going to be able to tell them all.
All right, then. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with what we're really going to talk about.
All right.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back.